What does enlightenment demand? I would say. Just a word. What does it demand? Self-emptiness? Empty of selfness? Mm-hmm. Is that even conceivable? Yeah. Selflessness? Compassion? Mm-hmm. Genuineness? Heartfulness? Realization? Mm-hmm. Pristine wisdom? Mm-hmm. Neurosis transcension? No suffering? Being happy? Being awake? Being spontaneously creative? Yeah. Enlightenment realization is quite a demand. You have to give up all your BS, all of it, all your little comfort zones, self-nicenesses, romances, self-indulgences. They have to be cast into the fire of self-realization practice.
Yeah, it really feels like what we're talking about isn't in any way for the indulgence of the self, although it can start that way. It can be, what can I gain from this process? That type of a thought process, and ultimately it seems like it turns into what's left. What of the self survives this process? What if the self doesn't work within this process?
Well, yourself can be in alignment with the practice. Yeah? All beginners are still in the self-state, self-condition. But what they are adapting to is recognizing their neuroses, their suffering, and trying to align with practices that create sanity as opposed from neurosis, which is too often proof of insanity. See? Mm-hmm. 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 Calm, clear, collected. See? See? Simple. Being. No self, no other, no thought, no mind, no world. These are ideals, but serious practices. You get to that point where you start to perceive and know for sure what no mind is and what true nature shows up as in the process of practice. See? And it starts to demand, in order for you to enjoy it for what it is, as a radiant condition. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to give up, the game of chasing men and chasing women. Fun, no doubt, but necessary. Self-justified as necessary, maybe, but not real. So, you need to stop, look, and listen to your own reality. See, not your self-reality, but your heart reality. I don't mean your emotions, but the heart reality. Right? The heart is the universe reality. The universe is the heart reality. So, and take a step towards what ultimate or radical realization is about in your case. So, It's not about people. It's not about the people you are attracted to, or obsessed with. It's not about that at all. You have to see that as an obstruction to the path of entering more clear, true sat, right? Sang, relationship, as the heart is the universe. Satsang. True company. Free company. Please.
Yeah, I wanted to mention the discomfort that can come along with hearing what actually is being demanded by this process.
BS, ungenuineness, confusion, neuroses, anger, right? Attachment, vanity, greed, lust. All of these things are being asked to be gone beyond. And going into a higher level of intelligence, actually. Peace, healing intelligence, cosmic intelligence, getting into a state of knowingness, which is very different from pursuing skirts and pants, which is fun, but not necessary, beyond the point in terms of your practice. It's not about that. It's more about this, the internal, so to speak, spiritual, subtle, spiritual. Knowing what you are, what it is, what true is, in terms of your fundamental awareness, realization. It's not social. It's cosmic. Social is too small. It's a dot. It's huge. Heart realization. Theory, no doubt. Concept, useful. See, everyone knows that enlightenment is real, that happiness is real, that freedom is real, that compassion is real. But only unless or until you recognize your predicament in the casket, the bondage in the casket of self-programming, negative self-programming, can you actually venture towards this liberation, an awakenment beyond the casket of suffering and death, so to speak.
Yeah, it seems like to agree to those terms set forth by, what works with, what is compatible with enlightenment, and what is not. You'd have to know this with a high enough degree of certainty to start giving up things seriously.
Yeah. The reaction to life. Being unhappy with life. As if life is doing something to you, yourself. No, yourself is doing something to life itself. There may be a view, and I remember from my Christian travels, where you had the saintly saying, "No, Lord, come what may. I live to praise Thee and worship Thee, in peace and in happiness, in the spirit of gratitude." Remember those days. It's kind of a courageous platform. Come what may. Whatever the karma brings, I'm not here to be done in by it, but I welcome it to get through it, to get past it. It's all showing up in time and disappearing in time. Come in.
having a guide, having a dharma as a as an indicator on the path, as a form of encouragement, as a form of kind of cleansing, has been tremendously useful, because this type of wisdom seems scarce these days. It is unusual to encounter a being that operates from the level of wisdom and can encourage another person to do so effectively.
Well, one needs to live it, not think it. It's good to read about it, but because you can read about it, you want to become more deeply involved in what it is, the way of wisdom, the way of peace, the way of liberation from neuroses and suffering, for real. And what you are left with is a genuine sense of what is real. Who you are as emptiness, spirit. The positive side of spirit as being formless, and beyond that as neither form nor formlessness. Beyond concept, beyond idea, beyond thought, beyond mind, beyond self, beyond world, as the heart itself. Here, always here, right? Only here, and always gone. Phew.
In your experience, or in your understanding, is musical training similar to spiritual training?
They're neither the same nor different. It's a fair response. Okay. We're talking less about the training than the who at this point. Who? Who is receiving musical training, and then they spiritualize it because of their nature and their intelligence. They make it a spiritual experience. And who in their spiritual training, on the other hand, are musicalizing it. So then one lends itself to the other, because music and spirit are almost the same thing. But they're not. Okay. But you can do the same thing with spiritual wisdom as you can with musical knowledge. But one is more in the spirit of building self and accomplishing materialistic goals than the other. And that's obvious. With spiritual, real spiritual, or true spiritual, it's about dematerializing one's consciousness to a certain degree to get to the real spiritual. So it's not just a label or a club that you belong to. See? It's a real process, enlightenment process, spiritualizing, knowing beyond knowing, hearing beyond hearing, seeing beyond seeing, see? Feeling beyond feeling, and then being beyond being. See? That could be musical, but it is also the basis of spirituality. See? So spirituality then implies, as far as I'm concerned, immediate access to emptiness realization. The higher side of loss, losing self, losing thought, losing mind. The benefits of it, the wisdom of it, the enlightenment of loss.
Are the processes, the training processes, or the steps that are taken ever parallel?
Not really. Music is its own reality, its own world. We can say you can apply the technology of learning scales to anything, right? In terms of what the rudiments are in any field, right? Learning the alphabet, learning the keys, and so on. They're parallels, but they're very different. One is building and aggrandizing and self-glorifying, and the other isn't. It's the opposite. Ideally, ultimately, it's the opposite. It's nothing. One is about a huge something, and the other is about a huge nothing. A huge zero. Right? It's like you're going to a concert and they play nothing. They're just there with their instruments, and the meditation, the music is like silent. They have a concept in front of them, a little bit stuff to read, right? Ideas. You have to hear that. You have to tap into their awareness. Yeah, so there can be some cross-referencing, I'm sure, no doubt about it. And some of the greatest music is spiritual music, right? Soul music is the greatest music. Apart from classical biases and preferences, soul music, whatever that is, very powerful music. And when a musician gets to that place, then there's real power and purpose and beauty there. That is both spiritual and musical. It's the whole ultimate direction of musical training. So, you have spiritual expression. So,